This segment is all about exit planning. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Heidi Westfall. She's a wealth advisor with RTI Wealth Management. Heidi, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Tell us a little bit about your work and specifically who are the types of clients that you specialize in helping?
So, I grew up in a family that was self-made in closely held businesses. And when I became a wealth advisor, I really was drawn to working with other business owners to help them realize the value in their businesses. I don't know if it's a cultural thing with Americans or with business owners themselves, but we do really well at building businesses and earning money. But how to exit out of that and realize that gain is a conversation that we don't have very often. So, helping business owners realize that gain and understand what options are out there for them to transition successfully out of their business or to grow their business is really my passion project because as a business owner, it's easy to get too close to your business and lose perspective on the long game per se, because we're too busy just trying to manage the day to day.
I could imagine the exit could be sort of an afterthought. What is, when they come to that, what is the preconceived notion? What's on the business owner's mind when they consider exiting?
Great question. I call it the magic 5 years. And I think we do it not only in our business lives, but in our personal lives too. We've got in 5 years, I'm going to retire. In 5 years, I'm going to buy my second house. And so there's this magical 5 years, but there's not always a process to get to that 5 year mark. And so helping business owners make a plan through a dedicated process on how do you get there? What does that look like? What do you need from a wealth perspective to walk away from your business? How do you close the profit gap against your competitors so you're best in class? And where do you gain value in your company? So, helping business owners really drill down into that process and then helping them make that leap to do I want to stay in my business or do I want to get out? And what does that look like if I choose to leave? And a lot of business owners, honestly, we build a business to build a business. What gets left behind that we don't give a lot of consideration to is we should always be building a business that's sellable. And that should be the focus from the beginning. And building a business that will operate without the owner or will create a legacy so that the family or the partners can move on should always be part of the equation when we're building a business. But unfortunately, gets left to kind of that magical 5 years at the end. So even if it's a new business owner, planting that seed to build a business where you can accelerate the value and really have a sellable business is is the process with exit strategy. So even though it's titled exit strategy, it's not down the road, it's right now. And it's the same as when you're driving a car. If you're trying to get off the interstate, you are looking for your exit. And you're always looking for your exit in case there's an accident or something happens along the way. So, how can I help a business owner find that path so that they can build a business, profit from it, and then safely exit?
You mentioned the word sellable. So I'd love to unpack that a little bit. Can you give us kind of like the 10,000-foot view of like what pillars or what makes a business sellable versus like what makes it unsellable?
Sure, also a great question. So there's a few things that we don't often assign value to, and one is really our own labor and that sweat equity that goes in. And at the end of the day, 70% of a business's value is based on its four capitals. So it's human capital, it's client capital, it's structural capital, excuse me, and it's intellectual capital. And so building out a business that has really solid employees or employee owners having clients who have contracts are long-term, participants in your business, having a wide range of clients, understanding your ideal clients, the structure around your business. Do you own your real estate? How are you building out your equipment if you have it? Or how are you building out your intellectual capital? What sets you apart from your competitors? And also, how can you build out those capitals so that they regulate themselves, they run on their own? And as a business owner or business partners, you're not responsible for everything from morning till night. The number one reason that any sort of business transition doesn't end successfully is because an owner is too close to it. And the reality is, we've created jobs for ourselves as business owners, but people don't want to inherit our jobs. They want to inherit a business that can stand on its own and runs with, a remote controller or with an on-site manager, but not necessarily that all of all of those capitals, the human capital, the intellectual capital, structural capital, is all in one person. So building a business that's sellable, make sure that you have those four pillars on the ground. And as an owner, you get to have a life so that you can
Wonderful.
build more or step away, whatever that looks like.
Great insight. Heidi, you know, you mentioned growing up in the family business. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about your upbringing and how that inspired you to even get into this field and focus on the exit planning for other people's businesses?
Absolutely. So I grew up in an immigrant family, and we had my grandparents, my mom and I growing up, we had a myriad of businesses, everything from float planes in northern Canada to hotels to general stores to a donut business that my mom and I ran before I went to school when I was in high school. And then when I was out on my own, I went into the restaurant industry and I owned and operated restaurants. I also did fly out camp services for hunting and fishing lodges. I also did private jet services. And we just made our own jobs. I honestly couldn't have told you my social security number till I was about 40 because I never applied for a job. I just gone out and made one, and I'd always been hired. I successfully sold my company in 2010, and I really stepped back from that to raise my family and to help my grandparents through the end of their lives. And along that journey, I had longtime clients coming to me to ask, how did you get from here to there? And could you come into our businesses and help us with that process? So essentially, I became a corporate housekeeper. And when I discovered the SEPA program, so the Certified Exit Planning Advisor, that to me was really the key to the puzzle of how do I put this together in a process that's easy for owners to actually execute because they're already overburdened, and make it make it a process that you can actually succeed at instead of just having another to-do list. And after becoming essentially a corporate housekeeper, I was asked by several firms to join as a financial planner. And to me, the being an advocate over an advisor is really important. And that key question, how do we get from where we are today to where do we want to be tomorrow? And how can we do that successfully with support, with a team of advisors or advocates who help push us there? Because the reality is, even in our personal lives, let alone our business lives, one, we can't be all positions to all people, and we can't know everything. And I think as a business owner, when I was especially starting out young, that was the most important lesson I learned is I don't have to have all the answers. I need to find the people that can help me with those answers, find those answers, teach me that process. And that's really where you get both business and professional growth for a successful ending. And to be quite honest, if I had the information that becoming a SEPA now provides me back in 2010, my exit strategy would have looked quite similar, but it would have been a completely different ending result. and just how to add value to your business and how to position your business for sale. So if I have that information and I have that experience, it's absolutely imperative that I get it out to business owners, because the reality is we are just trying to get through our day and we don't need another to-do list. We need a process that'll actually help us get to the finish line.
Before I ask you my last question, Heidi, is there anything that I didn't think to ask regarding exit planning that you think is important to share for business owners?
I think I think the most important thing for business owners is to remember that they are not by themselves. There are resources out there. And having a SEPA or a financial advisor or a wealth manager, um, that that role to me is really the quarterback or the hub. I help pull all of the other advisors together, and so that the business owner's goals are met and that we are moving the wheel forward for them. We are keeping the defense line covered, but we're also providing resources so that business owners don't feel like they have to reinvent the wheel. Funny story, I was well into my second business and I was sitting in my office late one night, balancing the books. And I thought, oh my gosh, I bet there's a management book for this on eBay, because of course it was before Amazon. And so, we can get too close to our businesses, and having a resource that allows us to step away and to guide us to the other resources that are available to them, I think is really important. And just to be kind to yourself and remember you don't have to have all the answers. There are people out there to help you, and there's people that want to help you find successful outcomes in your business.
For business owners that are listening who would love to speak with you, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Fabulous. I would love to connect, and it's easy because we have this lovely thing called the internet. You can find me at www.rti-wealth.com. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. I service clients throughout the United States. You are welcome to call me directly at 801-683-1208. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. And if you want to follow along on the journey, find out what resources are available to you, we are always here. I am always here to help get you pointed in the right direction, and happy to answer any questions that a business owner has.
Heidi, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you the best and continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Well, thank you, Mark. It's been a privilege to be here today. And honestly, I hope that if we can help any business owner just get from where they are to where they want to be, then we've helped create a successful outcome for everybody in our communities.
That was Heidi Westfall, a wealth manager with RTI Wealth Management. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.